In this video, I want to share with you my experience with Vipassana. Welcome back to my channel, welcome to a new video. My name is Christine. I recently came back from a 10-day Vipassana course, and in this video I want to share with you my experience as well as what it is. I want to emphasize that these are all just my thoughts, and the Vipassana practice is personal. It's a personal journey. You might not have the same experience, or you might talk to other people who have different experiences, just to make that clear. If you do have experience with Vipassana yourself, or if you're curious to try the technique, please leave your thoughts and experiences in the comments. And even if you have some questions, I will try to answer from my part, and then maybe all of you out there can give your answers as well if there is something that I can't reply to. So please use the comment section for this video. That would be so nice to get to know you guys a little bit better, and that we can have a little chat. We're gonna talk about different topics in this video, so I'm just gonna start with what is Vipassana? Vipassana is one of India's most ancient meditation techniques. The word Vipassana means seeing things as they really are. So I don't want to go into details about the technique because I think it's better for you to experience it yourself, but I will say that you will start by observing the breath to sharpen the mind. You do this for a couple of days, and then when your mind is sharpened after a few days, you will start observing your whole body. And what you're really doing is you're experiencing the universal truth about change, the truth of impermanence, suffering, and egolessness. The whole experience and the whole path is called Dhamma, which you will hear a lot throughout the course. The goal of this process and the goal of Dhamma in general is to have a solution for universal problems, to get rid of any suffering that you might have, which is pretty good. I also want to give you two words which you will hear throughout this course, and that is craving and aversion. You can attend Vipassana course all over the world, basically. I personally went to one center in Sweden, which is closest to Norway. This is the Nordic Center, and what is great about it is that during the year they will give priority to different nationalities. So on this course they would give the lectures in English, but then they would also translate it to Norwegian. And then I've seen that the same is happening for Finland and Sweden and Denmark. But even though the Norwegians were given priority for this particular course, there were still people from all over the world. It was just that if you applied as a Norwegian, you would get priority until a certain date. So here's the Dhamma hall where we've been meditating, and outside it's this little forest that we have been able to go for walks, clear our heads, and this is basically where we have been able to move. So there are no running, no exercise, not anything. But this is a beautiful little forest to walk in. I've been saying that I went to a 10-day meditation retreat, and I don't think that's the right word to use actually. It's better to say 10-day course because it was hard work. So just know that it's not like you're just laying around all day, just doing some meditation. This is real hard work, and please read the guidelines carefully before you go. I'll leave the code of conduct in the description box so that you can read it carefully. I'm not covering everything now, I'm just talking about the basics. I want to give you a little overview of the timetable, so I'll get it up here on the screen so that you can see. And this is the timetable that we used most of the days. So as you can see, the gong is ringing at 4 a.m. in the morning. Then you will just brush your teeth, go to the restroom, maybe take a shower if you have the time, and then from 4:30 to 6:30 you will meditate in the Dhamma hall or in your own room. Then you will have a breakfast break, so new students were served breakfast at 6:30 until 7, and then you had an hour to do your own things. So for me personally, I slept a little bit after breakfast or I would rest. Then from 8 till 9 was the first group meditation for the day in the Dhamma hall. You had to be in the Dhamma hall for that. After that group meditation, you could continue to meditate in the hall or in your room according to the teacher's instructions. So some days you had to stay for a little bit and then you could continue to meditate in your room. From 11 until noon, there were lunch breaks, so new students would eat at 11 o'clock, and then the rest of that lunch break you could spend on resting, sleeping, and at 12 you could ask questions to the teacher. So you would get 5 minutes, and if you had any problems with your meditation or anything, you could ask the teacher. Then from 1 until 2:30 p.m. you would meditate in your room or in the Dhamma hall. From 2:30 until 3:30 p.m. there would be the second group meditation in the hall for the day, so you had to be in the Dhamma hall for that meditation. From 3:30 to 5 p.m. you could continue to meditate in the hall or in your room according to the teacher's instructions. So sometimes, again, you were required to stay for a few minutes, but then most of the time you could choose where to stay. At 5 we had tea break, and then the third group meditation in the Dhamma hall took place at 6 p.m. till 7 p.m. Then at 7 p.m. it was teacher's discourse in the hall, which was actually one of my highlights throughout the day. So I looked forward to those every single day. It was sort of a break from everything. I just really enjoyed those. And then when that was done, about 8:15, we would continue to meditate in the Dhamma hall until 9 o'clock. If you had some questions about the meditation or the technique or anything, you could stay in the hall to ask questions to the teacher. Otherwise, you would retire to your room and go to bed. The lights were out at 9:30. And honestly, after a day like that, personally, I was so tired, so I just fell asleep almost immediately when I got back to my room. This timetable was almost always like this, except for day 4 when you actually start to learn the Vipassana technique. So let's also go through some of the rules. Some of them are very easy, I would say. To abstain from killing any being, to abstain from stealing, to abstain from all sexual activity, to abstain from telling lies, to abstain from any intoxicants. You also have to stay throughout the 10-day course. You will not be able to leave, and you have to follow the instructions that are given. You have to let all your other rituals go for the time being. So no other worship or praying or anything. You also should not mix Vipassana technique with any other meditation technique while you're there. You also have to observe noble silence from the beginning of the course until the end of the course, which will mean no talking, no sign language, no communication at all with any of the other students. No notes, no writing, just complete silence. You may speak to the teacher a couple of times throughout the day, and you also may approach the management if you have any questions or any problems related to your diet, your accommodation or anything, but even those contacts should be kept to a minimum. So in general, no communication. There will also be this separation of men and women. So if you're traveling with someone else, you will be separated. If you're traveling with your partner or a friend or family member, no contact, and especially between the men and women. So the men and women will sit on different sides in the meditation hall. You will sleep in separate houses and you will eat in separate food halls. There will be no contact. So this is one of the female halls, residential halls. Also some were sleeping in there, and over there the boys are sleeping, and here's the main house where we eat our meals. And yeah. As for me, I was traveling with my boyfriend, so on The day we arrived, we were separated for the rest of the stay. You cannot practice yoga or do any physical exercise. So please know that you will not be able to run, you will not be able to do yoga, you will not be able to exercise at all. You may walk in the designated areas in the rest periods. We had a little forest outside the meditation hall. So there you could go for walks and get some fresh air. These were also separated areas for men and women. You will not be able to bring any religious objects. They will be handed over to the management if you bring them. Drugs, tobacco, alcohol, all of those things are prohibited. The food that is served will be vegetarian food. You will not be able to keep in touch with anyone outside. So when you arrive, you will leave your phone, your smartwatch, your computers, all communication devices that you might have brought with you will be handed over to the management for the 10 days. We'll get back to my experience with that. It was actually so nice. But of course, if there is an emergency in your family or something, they will be able to contact the management. So just give the contact information to your closest ones before you go. You cannot listen to any music, you cannot read, you cannot write. Basically, you will have no distractions. It's just gonna be you and your thoughts and your mind and your body. Try not to disturb anyone, and also try not to let yourself be disturbed by anyone. The course does not cost anything. If you want to donate money after this course, then you will be able to do so, but only if you found the course beneficial. So the reason you're able to attend one of these courses is because older students have donated money because they found the experience helpful. You will be able to donate on the last day of the course or afterwards when you get back home. So my reason for going, I already talked to a couple of my friends who had done a 10-day course, so I was curious. They said that it was beneficial for them, and especially one friend that I have, she went a few years back, and she said that when she came back home from the course, she would be less stressed and she was just feeling like she would handle any obstacles in life better after this course. The second reason I wanted to go was that I've always wanted to learn how to meditate, but I've found it hard. So I have tried some guided meditations at home, but I haven't gotten into a routine of meditating, and I've always felt that I've done it wrong, if you know what I mean. I wanted to take the time to really get into meditation. That was my main purpose, I would say, to learn how to meditate and to really get a flying start on meditation, and also be in an environment where all you do is meditate. So then you're forced to meditate all the time. And I thought that that would be easier for me to implement in my daily life when I got back home as well. Like you saw in the timetable, you will get breakfast and lunch, and then there will be a tea break. I eat lots of plant-based foods, so for me the food was so good. I thrived. The breakfast, we've got oatmeal with different toppings. There will be bread and crisp breads and tahini and nut butter, jams, some vegetables, yogurt, fruits, some seeds, coffee and tea. I was expecting less. I was expecting more boring meals. I eat kind of plain normally, so I was really pleased. Lunch was actually the main meal of the day. That would always be a warm meal. It would be rice or pasta or potatoes and dishes made of beans or chickpeas or lentils. There would always be a little salad on the side, and you could also have some crisp bread with butter on it. And they were really good at making a variety of food, I would say. So each day there was a different dish, and I think they did really well. So compliments to the chef at the Vipassana Center in Sweden. It was so good. And then of course you could also have like coffee and tea. They would also always give us a little dessert, whether that was some dates or fruits with vanilla cream or cake or pie. I think it was really, really good. And then in the tea break, old students were only given tea, but for new students like I was, we got to choose 2 fruits in addition to the tea or coffee. Basically, from lunch until breakfast next morning, all you got was 2 fruits and a cup of tea. I think that a lot of people are hungry during this 10-day course. I have been really, really hungry since I got home. So 3 or 4 days after I got home from the course, I was so hungry. Before I arrived, I didn't know the details about the technique. And honestly, I'm glad that I didn't know it. Because if I'd heard the details about someone's experience, I think I would be stressed about what to expect. If I knew before I went that I was supposed to experience this feeling or that feeling, I think I would be very stressed if I was sitting there meditating and did not experience that. That is why I don't want to give you all the details for what to expect, because this is a personal journey and you will have a different experience than I had and everyone else. And that is not to say that if you already know what the technique is, then of course don't let that stop you from attending. I'm just saying that for me it wasn't a drawback that I did not know the details about the technique. All I knew was that I was committed to staying for 10 days. That is what you need to know about yourself. And the things that you're supposed to do are very simple. Very simple. So don't be afraid. It's not difficult. In theory, it's not difficult, but it is difficult as well because you need to focus. It's hard work, but it's breathing and observing. That's basically all you do for 10 days. I also want to say that the best part about this day was not having my phone, not having social media, not watching the news. I mean, that was so liberating. I also liked not getting any notifications, even though it's a message from a friend or a family member, which is nice, but I love the feeling of not having any distractions. Actually, I think that that's so healthy to just log off your phone and not have any distractions. I think that is something that I will do at least once a year going forward. And even if you're not attending Vipassana, consider doing it yourself, at least for a day or a few days. When it comes to sleep, I was so tired almost all the time, and I also fell asleep during the meditations. I would often sleep after lunch or after breakfast, and still I would fall asleep during meditations sometimes. And I actually talked to the teacher about this, and I was asking her, how can I deal with that? How can I stay awake? And she reassured me that it's totally normal to fall asleep during meditation. If you're feeling drowsy, if you're feeling tired, just stand up, go get some fresh air, splash some cold water in your face. Just do something and then get back to the meditation. Like I told you, I don't want to go into details about what you're supposed to experience while you're there. That is also why it's great that you observe noble silence throughout the course. Because if you talk to any of the other people who are there, then they will tell you what they're experiencing, and you will have your experience. And those experiences are most likely not the same. And that might be very stressful if you know that someone else is experiencing this and you're experiencing that. So I think that the noble silence part is actually for your own benefit. So don't be stressed out about it. It is actually really nice to not know what other people are experiencing. But I can tell you that I did not reach what I was supposed to reach. I was able to experience most of what we were supposed to experience, but I didn't get to the final little thing. So don't be stressed out about it if you don't experience everything yourself. You should not feel bad about it. That's just how it is. For me personally, now I've dipped my foot. My expectation was to learn how to meditate, and I definitely have. One of my biggest accomplishments personally was that I was able to sit still for 1 hour, and you will experience this. So during the first days, you will sit in the hall with all the other people and meditate, and you will move your legs, move your hands, change position. You will hear a lot of other people do the same. Your back hurts and your hips hurts and your knees hurt, and everything hurts and you will feel the need to change positions. But after a few days, you are supposed to sit with strong determination, which means that you are supposed to sit still for 1 hour during the 3 group meditation sessions, not moving your legs, not moving your hands, not opening your eyes. It's really difficult and it hurts. So for me, that was a real accomplishment just to be able to sit still for 1 hour. I was not able not to think. And I thought that during meditation, you should not have any thoughts. So I talked to the teacher about this and I said, I have so many thoughts, I'm not able to turn them off. And she reassured me once again that it's normal to have thoughts. Just let them play like a radio in the background. I think my problem was that because let's be honest, it's kind of boring to sit for 10 hours each day and meditate and having no other distractions. So for me, it was sort of an escape from the tiresome meditation. I feel bad for saying that. However, I feel like the thoughts that I had, it was everything. Like it could be an experience I had in elementary school, or it could be all friends and family memories, or I was also thinking a lot about career, life choices. I do think a lot back home as well. I think a lot of us are experiencing like overthinking, which leads to no good. But I think the difference here was that I didn't judge any of the thoughts and I also had time to think them. That was great. I know some people are experiencing really strong reactions during the 10-day course, but people have their own experiences. And for my part, I think that I have processed most of my scars. It feels so weird to say, but I think like during a life, you go through a lot of things and you have some good experiences and you have some bad experiences. And if you don't process those experiences and talk to someone throughout your life, I think at some point they will come to the surface. And I think for many people, that time is when they attend the Vipassana 10-day course. This is just my assumption, but I wasn't faced with any uncomfortable thoughts or experiences, but I think that could be the case. I talked to some of the people after the course, and I know that some of them experienced like anxiety coming to the surface and allowing themselves to experience it fully while they were there. Some of them also had some unprocessed thoughts from their childhood, which they were able to like feel during this course. But again, this is personal, and what you're doing during this course is just to observe and letting yourself experience whatever is coming, and then you will learn how to deal with it in a calm and balanced way. I did start crying on day 3 though. It was no particular reason for me to start crying, but throughout that day I was sobbing in my lunch. I went to my room and just stayed in bed in the breaks and just cried. And after that, I had the experience where I was able to sit still for an hour. I even gave myself a clap on the shoulder because I was so proud of myself. So I turned a bad day into a good day. The second thing that I liked the most about this course was actually on day 10. So on day 10, after the morning meditation, you will be able to talk again. And this was the best part about everything. Make sure to stay until the end of the course, because even though 10 days can feel like a long time and you feel like you're suffering throughout those 10 days, the feeling on day 10 when you have completed the course and you can talk to other people, it's priceless. For the rest of that day, we were able to talk. I was able to talk to my roommates, which I'm so glad that I got to meet them, and it was so nice on day 10 to actually be able to talk to them. And also at that time there would be these areas where you could also talk to the male students, and then I also got to talk to my boyfriend again, and it was so nice to hear his experiences as well, and I'm so glad that he also had a good experience. It was truly a wonderful day and the sun was shining, and I think that's the best part about this 10-day course. And I think that if you for some reason leave before the 10th day, it would not be a good experience, and I think that's why they don't allow you to go before the 10-day course is over, because it would be a really bad experience if you don't stay the course. But yeah, day 10 was great. So the big question is, would I have done it again? The short answer is yes. 100%. The longer answer is I think I might do it again in a year, actually. Maybe in a 1 year or a couple of years, because to me it was so beneficial. And I think that I might even be a server, make myself useful and be of help. I just appreciated the help so much because there were people who were voluntarily helping with the food, cleaning our bathrooms and hallway, and it was so nice to see someone so selflessly helping us having a good experience. Also, the food was great, so I'm happy to go back and eat the food. I wanted to get the recipes, but I didn't have the time to collect them before we left, but they were so good. So if someone took a picture of the recipes or wrote them down, please send them to me, because I so want to make this food myself at home. So if you attended the same course, or if you attended a course in Sweden, please give me the recipes. The second question you might ask is, would you recommend others to do this? It depends. I think that everyone could benefit from a 10-day course, but this is something each and everyone needs to figure out for themselves. I would not go to any of my friends or family members and say, hey, you should go to Vipassana. I might do it to some people. The person needs to be at that point in their life or at a mental stage where they're ready to commit to the rules and surrender actually to the practice for 10 days. So I wouldn't necessarily say to every single one of you, hey, go there and do this. I would say if you're ready for it, absolutely do it, but make sure to stay until the end. Just being there for 10 days without any distractions, without any phones or computers or anything, it will be an accomplishment for you just to stay there for 10 days without any distractions. At least I feel like it's an accomplishment for myself. My experience coming home. Honestly, what I missed the least was getting back to my daily life of stress. I was not missing my phone. I was not missing getting notifications, and I did not miss scrolling. When I record this video, I've been home for a week. It's been overwhelming. You're just thrown back into your old life with all that requires. 9-to-5 job and stress, not getting enough sleep, and I miss being on the Vipassana meditation center, actually, where you were just living. At the same time, I now have some techniques to bring with me, and ideally I would continue to meditate for 2 hours a day. That's actually what they say that you should. You should continue to meditate for 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. I have not done that, and I wasn't prepared for that. My goal of attending was not to meditate that much, but to learn how to meditate, and I think that I've learned that now. But also during the course I did a lot of thinking, and that feels good. So it feels good being back with the experience that I've had. While I was there and had time to think for 10 days, I feel so much more sure about what I'm doing and where I'm going. I'm not stressed in the same way that I was before I left, because it's become clear to me that what I've been thinking up until now has been correct for me, because I had the same thoughts when I was doing the meditations, and everything just became more clear, and I have now confirmed to myself that what I have been thinking for a long time is actually what I think is the best, if that makes sense. So I'm less stressed now when I'm back, even though the stressful life is still here. And also, since it's only been a week since I came back home, I think I need some more time to fully digest this experience. But so far, I am really, really happy that I went, and I'm so happy that I have this experience. Some advice for you if you are attending. These are just some thoughts that came to me while I was there and also after. Bring enough clothes for the season. So I was in Sweden at the end of October and the beginning of November, and I'm very glad that I brought lots of wool and proper outerwear. So if you're traveling in the winter, make sure to bring like a hat and gloves and scarves and waterproof shoes so that you can walk outside even if it's raining or even if it's wet on the ground. Bring a warm jacket, maybe a rain jacket if it's raining. Bring comfortable warm clothes if you're going there in the winter, and if you're somewhere else on the planet where it's warm, just bring comfortable, proper clothes for the season or the weather that's there. Also, there will be no watch in your room, so you will have to go out in the hallway to see what time it is. So it could be useful for you to bring a watch or an alarm clock. I did not have any use for any of that. I was actually okay with not having a wristwatch, because then I think I would have counted minutes and seconds until the meditation was over. I heard one of my roomies told me that she was just at some point just watching every second until the meditation was over. So you need to make that up yourself. But there will be this gong at 4 a.m. in the morning, but if you're afraid that you won't wake up from that gong, you could maybe bring an alarm clock. I stayed in a room with 2 other people, so we would just wake up if someone's moving, so it wasn't really a problem. I woke up every morning at 4 a.m. from the first gong. So it's the 11th day and we have just been cleaning out our rooms, and people are vacuuming the facilities and cleaning. So here's my room. I've been sleeping in this bed. Here's the view. That's where we eat our meals, in here. Here's another bed. So we've been 3 people in this room. What I would have preferred to bring, that I saw a lot of people brought, was a thermocup. For each meal you could make yourself a cup of tea or coffee, but it would be nice to have a thermocup that you could fill with some tea or hot water or coffee that you could bring with you to your room for later. So that could be useful if you're a person who likes to sip on warm beverage throughout the day. Do not care about what other people are experiencing or what you think other people are experiencing. This journey is 100% your own, so that's also why I don't want to go into detail about my meditation experience, because I think it's better for you to experience it yourself. No matter what your experience is, it will be your own. On the 11th day before you leave, there will be cleaning of the rooms, of the kitchen, of the meditation hall. I would say it would be really nice if you helped clean the facilities before you go. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm saying it's appreciated, because if there are more people cleaning, then you will be done much sooner, and then everyone can go home sooner. And it's also really nice to give back and contribute to the next group of people who are coming to meditate. Making sure that everything's clean and in order, that feels really nice. So we've been cleaning the Dhamma hall, and now it's time for breakfast, and then we'll leave and go back home. If you have other experiences, I'm so curious to hear, not necessarily the details like I've talked about so many times now, but if you want to share some experiences or some thoughts on the Vipassana meditation technique, if you've been to a 10-day course, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below, and we can have a little chat. Maybe you have some other advice, or if you have some other information that you would like to share with me and other people who's watching this video, then please leave it down below so that we can help other people prepare for a 10-day course. And if you went to the same course as me and we didn't talk together, or even if we talked, please say hi. It would be nice to talk to you again. I think I've covered most of my experience. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful in some way or another. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. You could also subscribe to my channel if you want more content from me. I usually share my daily life and also my travels, and I'm excited to see you again soon. Maybe we'll do a follow-up video when I've had some more time to digest the whole experience. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. Bye!